Hi, welcome to the weekly SDSU Center for Autism Research Spotlight, where we are going to be highlighting all of the wonderful research that's conducted by our center members. And we want to showcase the work our center is doing in the San Diego autism community. My name is Janice Chan, and I am the administrative coordinator here at the center.
And I am Vinton Omaleki, Community Engagement Director at the Center. Today we are speaking with Dr. Ruth Carper, Associate Research Professor and Associate Director of the Brain Development Imaging Labs. Thank you so much, Dr. Carper, for speaking with us today.
I'm happy to be with you.
Thank you. So Dr. Carper, let's just dive in. What area of autism research do you focus in?
Well, I've got two areas of focus. One is I'm actually a neuroscientist, so my background is looking at brain anatomy and brain differences in autism across the age span. But one of the studies that I'm leading right now is a study on aging and autism. We're looking at people who are over 40 and on up to about 70 years of age.
Great. And what exactly are you looking at in that study? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
We are looking at, since this is really an age group that has not been studied very much at all, even though we know that the lifespan is pretty much typical in autism, we still know very little about older adults with autism. So we're trying to do a very extensive assessment of people with the disorder. We're assessing their symptoms, we're assessing their cognitive abilities, so their executive functions, planning, things like that, their language function. We're also looking at motor abilities to see if those change with time. And then we're doing in-depth imaging as well to look at brain structure, brain function, and try and get a full understanding of both the neural bases and the cognitive and functional outcomes and how those might change as people with autism get older.
And so, I mean, you highlighted a little bit, but why is this research important? Like what?
I think one of the most important parts is just that it is such an understudied age range. Autism was first described in the 1940s. So if you look back, even the first case that was described in the literature, that literally is described as case number 1 with autism, is only in his 80s now. So it's only just in the last several years that we've even been able to look at autism and aging. So I should say it's not that we think that autism was new then, but that was the first time that anyone described it clearly as a particular disorder. And we really need to know whether or not there are changes that occur. There are some other developmental disorders where we know that changes, new differences occur as you get older. And we need to make sure whether or not that might be the case in autism as well. It's also possible they might improve in some of their skills. There's some skills that we all continue to get better at as we get older, which is nice for all of us to know. But then we just need to know whether or not declines happen at the same rate, because we also know there are many skills and abilities that do decline in typical aging. And given that people with autism may have some deficits to start with, we need to know whether or not that might get worse as they get older. And again, since no one's looked at this, we want to cover every possible angle that we can think of, and we're going to keep following these individuals as they get older.
Wow, it sounds really comprehensive.
We have a lot of data on every person that we bring in.
So then what does it look like from the participants' perspective?
For the participants, we bring them in for about 2 or 3 visits, depending sort of on their tolerance for how long they come in. But we bring someone in, someone who has autism or is thought to maybe have autism. They don't necessarily have to have the diagnosis yet, but they come in first for a diagnostic assessment so we can confirm it. That takes about an hour or so. And then we do, I think, 3 hours or so of cognitive assessments, often on a different visit that will do that so people don't get too tired out. And then they come back for a last visit where they go into our scanner, our MRI scanner, and that just involves holding still. So you do have to hold still for about an hour while we do the scan, just in a It's a scanner that's used for in hospitals, medical facilities, for all sorts of assessments. It makes a lot of noise, but that's really the only, the biggest challenge of going in there is just holding still so we don't get blurry pictures. And then we do ask the people who participate come back about 3 years later so we can see if anything changes. The cognitive assessments that we do are sort of paper and pencil tasks, solving puzzles. Some people actually have fun doing those because we try and make it, not too difficult so you don't feel like you're taking an exam in school. But that's what the full assessment is. And then we do pay people for their time, since we know that it does take your time away from everything else that you're doing.
Oh, very cool, very cool. And how can people learn more about this particular study and reach out to participate?
The best thing, if they're interested in participating, is probably going to our website and or calling our phone number to find out a little bit more about it. We have all of our contact information there. And they can call, they can, or email us. And our project coordinator would tell them a bit more about it, ask some questions to see if they qualify, and then go from there.
Very good. Yeah, and we'll provide those links and those contact information below in the description of the video. So you can reach out there. Perfect. So thank you so much, Ruth, for sharing your expertise with our community. We really appreciate your time and the impact that you're making in autism research, especially in this this area of autism research that the adult population is so underrepresented in the resources and in the research. So it's critical research.
Yes.
Now, for everyone who's watching, if you want to learn more about our center and our center members, you can find out at autism.sdsu.edu.
Or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle for all three are at SDSU Autism. And we'll see you next week for our next research spotlight. Until then, we hope that you can stay safe, stay healthy, and that you wash your hands. Thank you.